All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the Realty Rundown from the Nic Wyse Team. As you know, I am your host, Nic Wyse, here at Remax Results, coming to you on a beautiful Monday morning, August 4th, 2025. Coming off a really awesome weekend. We got to go to the Barbecue and Brew Fest this weekend and help raise money for the Boys and Girls Clubs of Elkhart County. From what I understand, it was a huge success and the biggest crowd they've ever had there. That was really incredible and really awesome and really great to see so many of you out there and be able to contribute to the community. Had a great time there. And then last night, Sunday evening or afternoon evening, we went to some dear friends of ours to play our annual slosh ball game. What is slosh ball? Well, if you have to ask, you can't afford it. No, slosh ball is basically a combination of kickball and slip and slide, in that you get extra points if you score your winning run by sliding into a freezing cold pool at the end of a slip and slide. It's put on by some really great friends of ours, Greg and Cindy Ritchie, and it has become an awesome annual tradition for us and a group of dear old friends that have been doing it now for a number of years. And it's adults versus kids. And after the kids had a pretty good run for a couple of years there, I can say the adults safely pulled it out yesterday in two very close games. We won the best of three series. The adults are back on top. Yay, adults. Better luck next year, kids. It's getting tough. They just keep getting older, and unfortunately, so do we. And that doesn't always mean good things in the world of slosh ball. All right, guys. As you'll notice, I'm flying solo today. Nathan is off, working hard as usual. But I wanted to tackle a topic that we don't really think about a lot, especially because where we're at geographically. But at what point in a real estate transaction should you hire a real estate attorney? So, is that when you're buying your first home, selling an investment property, navigating a complicated deal? There are moments when having a real estate attorney in your corner can save you some time, even save you some money, and definitely save you some stress. So let's try and break it down. I mentioned geography. So first off, does Indiana require a real estate attorney to be involved in the transaction? No. Here in Indiana, it's basically going to be your real estate agent. Hopefully you're a realtor who signed those code of ethics and standard of practice. That's going to be who's going to be entering you into contract and guiding you through all the paperwork. And believe me, there is a mountain of paperwork. You've got your purchase agreements, your listing contract. If you're selling, you're always going to have a title insurance policy, or you should always get a title insurance policy in place. There's going to be zoning concerns, possibly. You've got easements to deal with. There's a ton of contingencies that can be satisfied through the course of a purchase. That's going to be your real estate agent here in Indiana who's doing that for you. We are highly trained, especially I would say us at Remax Results. Come work with the best. We know, Nick knows, Remax knows, but all realtors, again, are very highly trained individuals. So make sure you get somebody on your team. Make sure that they're fully representing you. Some of our neighboring states, I will say, in Illinois, my understanding is the agents do not have those same responsibilities. There are a lot of the processes that are handled by an outside attorney. So that is just something that's different right across the border in Illinois. If you go up there, your agent is going to find you the home. They're going to show you the home. And then they kind of do turn it over. They'll meet you back at closing, so to speak. A lot of the work is handled by attorneys. And if you're from Illinois and I'm incorrect about that, please let me know. That's my understanding. I do not, I'm not licensed in Illinois. Next, so I want to talk about in Indiana why you might need an attorney. As mentioned before, there's, attorneys are not free. They're certainly not cheap. But if you're buying, a high value transaction, maybe a multi-unit property, raw land, something with a commercial angle, then sometimes, bringing in a real estate attorney is someone that can help you avoid costly mistakes and actually save you money down the line. As well, if you're going to be setting up or buying from a trust, there's going to have been an attorney involved in some point there. So attorneys are going to set up that trust for you initially. And there's many different kinds of trusts that you can use to put the home or the property, be it commercial, whatever it is, to put it into the trust. So people do that for a variety of reasons, but basically one, they're trying to control how their asset is handled. Either it's a living trust or sometimes, it's going to go to the decedents, and they want to make sure that the property is divided in the way that they intend. So that's where a trust can really come in handy for you, or creating an estate. Legal disputes. Obviously, this is the one that's kind of obvious and the one that we probably deal with in some ways the most is, if there's a dispute. Um, your agent is going to be able to handle the vast majority of things, but at the end of the day, we are not real estate attorneys. There are times when it's say, hey, let's push pause here before we go any further. Let's go talk to an attorney and find out where we need to go with this. What is the correct avenue? Let's get an interpretation, because obviously we've got two sides that are in dispute here and not in agreement. Oh, before I go on, I want to bring my friend to the stage here. There you go. That's our handy real estate attorney. He's got the keys. He's got you ready to rock. I had ChatGPT make it. I might as well use it. So again, unusual terms or addendums. There are some odd contingencies or clauses that can be put into a purchase agreement. I mean, I have seen literally a page, 1,000 words, whatever it is, of basically handwritten contingencies that are added on that are not in a standard Indiana purchase agreement. We did not end up needing an attorney in that situation. I was able to divulge all of it and break it down, and we got through that transaction actually just fine. But there are buyers out there who obviously would have liked to have an attorney look over that document as well, knowing that this is not a standard agreement. That's a time when you may want to call your attorney and say, hey, can you help me out here? Can you make sure that I'm signing what I think I'm signing? And then again, out-of-state transactions. So each state has its own real estate laws. If you're buying property outside of Indiana and you're an Indiana Hoosier resident, or someone who's buying yours, sometimes it's nice just to have that conversation with your trusted attorney. Who pays for them? Guess what? I'm going to say you, because in Indiana and most Midwestern markets, it's not required to have an attorney in a standard real estate transaction. So if you decide you want to bring one on board, that cost is going to be paid by whoever retains them. So if you hire one, that's at your expense. I will say this, also in a standard Indiana purchase agreement, it is noted on there that if an attorney is hired to help divest any legal disputes, that attorney's fees can be included in the lawsuit to settle that. So if you lose, you may end up paying for the attorney on the other side. So we do a lot of things to try and help keep it out of, the court, so to speak. Obviously, doing things the right way, right up front, is the number one best way to keep disputes at bay. But sometimes they are necessary. So again, I will say this here, and I do want to give one more shout out before I go on. We work with some amazing title companies too. They have attorneys that they use for their title process. And we won't go too far into detail with that because we've covered it in other episodes, but there is an attorney basically there that's working through that title work for you to make sure that you're buying a home that is unencumbered. It doesn't have liens, doesn't have judgments against the previous owners that are going to be attached to that house. So that's another reason to get title insurance. And they are going to have an attorney that they keep as well that's going to work through that for you. Here at the Nic Wyse Team, I'm with RE/MAX Results, again, amazing company. That's why I stay here. We have a phenomenal real estate attorney that we keep on retainer. It's one of the best values that we can provide for people. So if there is a legal remedy that's needed, we can go to our attorney. We can have them interpret what they view as the appropriate outcome of this. They're not going to go to court, for free. But at the end of the day, they're going to be able to make their own judgment on it. They're going to issue some kind of a response, usually in letterhead with, a one-page document that says, we've reviewed the dispute that you have with such and such agency, and this is our interpretation of that. If I had wood around, I would knock on it because I've never had to have it go any farther than that. Like I said, I will answer for myself, I guess, and all RE/MAX Results agents, we try to be extremely well trained and we try and avoid any conflicts. But when they do arise, we can go to our attorney, and it has been a godsend in some ways. When we need that help, we've got it. So just another reason to consider the Nic Wyse Team at RE/MAX Results for your next transaction. We've kind of got all the bases covered for you. So again, just to wrap things up, most real estate deals don't require an attorney and don't involve one at all. It's rare. I don't even know if it's 1%, at least from my background. I doubt it is. But if you need one, to have one on retainer, incredibly valuable. If you want to get your own attorney, that's always an option too. That's something we advise all our clients at those first consultations. You just want to avoid any legal issues if you can. So it pays sometimes to have that expert in your corner. If you're ever unsure of what your situation calls for, don't hesitate to reach out to me. If there's questions that have come up through this, and maybe you're struggling, you're trying to do things your own, Godspeed. I understand why people try to do that. There's a reason that 89 or whatever percentage of it is of for sale by owner transactions end up calling an agent to get them across that finish line, because it is so much to deal with. And you don't want to get yourself into a situation where now you're in court and you are up against a licensed realtor and their attorney who handles real estate law all the time. So guys, just call your realtor right away. Call us, call me, call Nathan. We've got your back. We are very much worth our time. I always like to say we pay for ourselves. Yeah, I guess that's it, guys. So thank you for tuning in again to this episode 30 of the Realty Rundown. If you found this helpful, give us a like, give us a follow, give us a subscribe if you're on YouTube. And until next time, just reminding you the Nic Wyse team is here for you. Nick knows. Get wise replies to all your real estate questions. See you next time, guys.